Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about a very interesting topic. Honestly, a video I've wanted to do for a long time, and finally I have an excuse to do it. But before we jump into this video, I just want to make sure that if you are a new viewer, make sure to hit the subscribe button and like and turn on notifications. I make basketball content here every week, and if you like that kind of stuff, hit that subscribe button. And if you are an old viewer, make sure to hit the like button so we can get this video onto the algorithm so that other basketball enthusiasts like you and I can watch the video. And let's help get this channel to 950 subscribers. How fast do you guys think we can do that? Aside from that, let's jump into this video. Hi, my name is Emmanuel Kamia and you're watching League Talk. This is a video I've wanted to do for a long time, and I finally have the excuse to do it. Now, this video is LeBron James versus past eras. And the reason now I can do it is because a retired NBA player came out, Rasheed Wallace. He went on a podcast and he got to talking about LeBron James. He said some things about LeBron James. Now, Rasheed Wallace is a retired old head veteran player, so you already know their mindset and how these guys work. When asked if he thought LeBron would be good in his era, he replied and said that LeBron wouldn't be as good in his era, but he would quote unquote hold his own, whatever that means. Now, Rasheed Wallace came into the league in 1995 and he retired in 2010, so he played for 15 years. Now, LeBron came into the league in 2003, so Rasheed Wallace and LeBron James actually overlapped for 7 years. So LeBron did play against Rasheed Wallace, and so I don't know what he's talking about LeBron wouldn't be as good. But if he means the 1990s, okay, I'll indulge him. So from what he said, let's assume that he meant the years LeBron wasn't playing. So from about 1995 to 2003, that's an 8-year period. Okay, now he said that LeBron wouldn't be as good and that he wouldn't hold his own. Now, I don't really know what holding your own is, but let's assume that he means that LeBron wouldn't be the star that he is today, but he also wouldn't be a bum. A player that comes into mind when I think of not the premier, but also not a bum, is someone like DeMar DeRozan. Now, DeMar DeRozan is not a bum at all, but he's not good enough to be put in conversations with guys like James Harden, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker. Those guys are in a different tier, and DeMar DeRozan is about in the middle, right? He's about average, but just above average, about a 6 out of 10. So let's say that's what Rasheed Wallace was thinking LeBron would be. Let's say he thought, okay, LeBron wouldn't be as good, but he also wouldn't be a bum, hold his own, survive, not thriving. Thing is, I completely disagree with that statement. I think LeBron is one of the few players in NBA that you could pluck and put into any era and they would not only survive, but they would also thrive. There are a number of players, and I'll list them off. Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, because those guys can shoot, and that is a skill that will benefit you in any era. If you can shoot, you will survive in any era, and those guys are the best at what they do. Kevin Durant, because Kevin Durant's size, how tall he is and how long he is and how skilled he is, makes him very unique. He's a unicorn. There's a lot of guys that are his size now and a lot of guys that have been his size in the past, but they don't have the skill set at that height. It's just, you don't see that. And that's why I think even if you took Kevin Durant and you put him anywhere, look, Kevin Durant was gonna cook. He's gonna ball in any era. Larry Bird, because I think Larry Bird is kind of like Kevin Durant, but to a lesser degree. They both play the same position. Larry, I think he's just basically like Kevin Durant. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, obviously, and Kobe Bryant, because Kobe Bryant is basically Michael Jordan 2.0. He's literally a clone of Michael. Yeah, so those guys, I think if you were to pluck them and put them in any decade, they would hold their own. They would do better than holding their own. They'd be a star in the league. I could even argue that a lot of them would cook. Like a lot of the guys in the NBA 90s, how would they be able to defend Steph Curry's shot? Like, the thing about Steph Curry is not that he is accurate, it's that he is stunningly fast. His release is super quick and it's hard to guard. And that combined with range, with accuracy, that's impossible to guard. So I think even in that era, he would dominate. But what people like Rasheed Wallace always say in order to back up this argument is that, well, the league was more physical back then and you could hand check and it was more tougher. And here's what I have to say to that. I think that if LeBron played in the 90s, in early 2000. He even played in the early 2000s. Let's just say the 90s. I think if LeBron played in the 90s in the way it was, as physical it was, I think LeBron would more than adapt to how the game was played back then. He would absolutely be one of the premier stars in the NBA at that time, if not the premier star, even eclipsing Michael Jordan. I said it. Now here's why I think that. Because if you want to talk about the league, right, back then, and it was more physical and it was tougher, I think LeBron would have an advantage over 90% of the players that were in the league at the time. I mean, look at Reggie Miller. The dude is super skinny, right? Look at the guys that back then, you compare them to the guys that are now, look, they look like LeBron is a physical specimen compared to them. LeBron's a physical specimen compared to his counterparts right now. And when you contrast that with the guys that were in the 90s, I think LeBron would have a huge advantage. The dude is a little freak of nature. LeBron's 6'9" and like 270. And also, if you look at what LeBron was when he first came into the league in his youth, LeBron was so quick, so fast, and so powerful. Go and watch the highlights. It is crazy. Like, he was just so fast. I couldn't imagine, like, if LeBron had the IQ that he has now, combined with the body that he had at 22, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? Like, LeBron's a physical specimen when it comes to basketball. The dude has the body of a Greek god. And people forget that Michael Jordan, even at his normal size, was able to fare pretty well for a long time in the NBA, up until he had to face the Detroit Pistons, where they would just bully him and he had to bulk up and put on some muscle. Now here's the thing about that. LeBron is bigger than both versions of Michael Jordan, pre-Detroit Pistons and post-Detroit Pistons. So it just goes to show you, even then, LeBron would the dude's a freight train. He's a locomotive, and people overlook that about LeBron. And not only that, it isn't just LeBron's physicality or LeBron's physical gifts that make him a great basketball player. What makes LeBron they're a part of it, that's a part of it, but what really makes LeBron stand out, what really makes him a great basketball player, is the combination of his skills and his intangibles. Now here's what I mean by that. LeBron is incredibly mentally gifted when it comes to basketball. LeBron's able to predict and see plays before they happen. He's able to memorize opposing teams' play and call them out and get his teammates to the spots they need to be. That speaks to how fortitude and keen LeBron's mind is. He has a very high degree of basketball IQ, and he's able to combine this mental keenness and anticipation and patience to become a great passer. Now that's another thing that people don't always give props to LeBron about. He's one of the best passers in the league. That's an intangible you can't teach. And because he's able to be a great passer, he's able to make his teammates better. He's able to get them the ball in places they need to get the ball in order to be better. And when he's able to do that, it allows for his teammates to follow him, and that shows you his leadership skills. That's another intangible that people overlook. LeBron is a natural born leader because his teammates see firsthand how amazing he is, and they're like, okay, I'm gonna fall in line, I'm gonna follow this guy. He is a leader of men. And these are intangibles you cannot teach. I can't teach you to be 6'9" and 270. I can't teach you to see plays as they happen. I can't teach you to memorize every play as they happen. It just comes to him like that. That's why I mean he's gifted not only physically but also mentally. So if you were to put LeBron in any era, he would be one of the best players in that league because, right, it isn't the era that makes LeBron great. It's LeBron, his skills, his intangibles, and his physical gifts that make him stand out, make him a star. And in fact, I'd endeavor to even say that LeBron would probably win more championships if he played in the 90s than he did right now. Every time LeBron has lost a finals, barring the Dallas Mavericks in 2011, it has taken the assembly of generational talent, the best of the best, put together in order to stop. In 2014, when LeBron lost to the San Antonio Spurs, it took having the best coach ever in the NBA in Greg Popovich, coupled with an all-time great, a 5-time champion, Tim Duncan, coupled with a young up-and-coming Hall of Famer, outstanding defender in Kawhi Leonard in order to stop LeBron. Then, when LeBron was in Cleveland, it took 3 all-time greats in Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen in order to stop LeBron. And then, in Golden State, it took literally the assembly of one of the best, if not the best team ever assembled in order to stop LeBron in 2017 and 2018. So he might have actually won more championships because in the 90s, the concept and the idea of super teams didn't exist. And if it requires a super team to stop LeBron, who's gonna stop him? There are no super teams, right? And you can say, oh, LeBron got to all these finals and whatever because he also had a super team. Well, LeBron has also proven in the past that he's able to literally do it all by himself. In 2007, LeBron led the Cavaliers to an NBA Finals when you couldn't even name the second best player on his team. Literally a bunch of bums and scrubs. And then again in 2018, LeBron literally carried them on his back, like Jesus Christ with the cross on his back, to the finals. And then in 2015, LeBron literally had to play with Matthew Dellavedova in the finals as his best player. And it took the Golden State Warriors 6 games to take him out. That goes to show you LeBron can do it. LeBron can do it. So I think that if LeBron played in that era, LeBron would be one of the premier stars in that era, if not the premier star in that era. And so I think LeBron is built for every era. He is a talent, a generational talent. Now let me give you an example of a generational talent, or something that is very generational. There are certain songs that just never get old. They just don't age, right? For instance, Thriller by Michael Jackson came out in the 80s. It stood the test of the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and it is still popular to this day. Michael Jackson still sells like crazy. That album is one of the best-selling albums to this day. That is the definition of generational. Times don't define it, it defines itself. And I think that's what LeBron is. And that's why I think that Rasheed Wallace was completely wrong in his analysis of LeBron James and his capabilities. But yeah, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you agree with Rasheed Wallace? Do you think I'm right? Where do you think LeBron would be if he played in the 90s? Would he be a top 5 player? Would he win championships? Let me know down in the comments down below, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time, kids.